welcome to the 132nd ever episode of the Dex Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Kellz.
Oh man, we are back. We are still hitting it hard on the coming out each time with a podcast each week. Crazy, right?
New record.
A new record.
We're achieving our goal that we are expected to do.
Yes.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
If you have never listened to this podcast before, welcome. We are a Pokemon podcast. We're the official podcast of the Dex on YouTube. We make Pokemon videos there about trivia and strategy, and we played through Pokemon Sun recently. But before we get into the week's news and the fan answers that we do every week, let's jump into a little thing that I like to call, hey, how was your Pokemon week?
Should we do like a stinger for that?
It just adds more work to my editing day.
I see. Bare minimum. Got it.
But I issue this challenge to the listening public. If you think you can nail it with like a really good like Pokemon, hey, how was your Pokemon week, Stinger? Like, I'll use it.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you tickle me enough, like if you, okay.
Alex loves being tickled.
That's
Anyway,
they
know what you mean.
That was innocent.
They're smart people.
That was an innocent thing that I said. All right.
You guys are smart. You know what
How
Alex
was your
means.
guys' Pokemon week this week, guys?
Good.
It's okay.
It was good.
It's
The water
okay.
festival was happening in Pokemon Go.
Yes.
It
So I
is.
caught a lot of water Pokemon. I evolved a Chinchou into a Lantern.
Oh,
Lantern's
that's
one of
cute.
my faves, as you all know.
Mhm.
And what else? Oh, I caught a Flaffy.
Oh.
So I'm one step closer to Ampharos. So that's good.
Nice.
And, lots of Totodiles, lots of Squirtles, lots of little guys. I caught a Feraligatr, too. So feeling good. Feeling
Anybody
great.
catch a shiny Madge?
No.
Apparently
Nope.
you could get a
Not
shiny
I.
Madge, and
Yeah.
it evolves into a shiny gear.
Yeah. As it should.
Yeah. Good
Right.
hype.
But no, I never saw one. But that's
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Someday.
I saw reports of people catching shiny Magikarps and then it turning out to be a Ditto.
That sucks.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be like
Get wrecked.
the biggest bummer?
That would be like the ultimate sadness.
But more importantly, speaking of Pokemon Go, real quick,
Yep.
I'm back, baby.
Hey!
I finally got an email when they were about to do their like most recent update before the water festival, and they were like, "We fixed your thing, peace." And I was like, and then it took me like an hour and a half to remember what my password was, and then I finally logged in and it works. I changed my name. I'm definitely not going to tell anyone what it is, but I got it. I'm playing it again. We back. We in there. I'm feeling great. Except that all my Pokeballs are gone, which has been painful because I
Yeah.
spent a bunch of money to get Pokeballs because I'm stupid. But now it's all gone. So
That's okay. We can go through, like, our neighborhood has, like, a good Pokestop walk, so we can just go
yeah,
through that.
dude, I could do that like twice. I could like go down there, eat a sandwich, walk back, and like have more Pokeballs than before somehow. I don't know.
If there was even one Pokestop, that would be true.
Right.
Unless you caught Pokemon on the way.
That's
Jimmy, I noticed that you've been playing a little Pokemon Go.
A little bit. After last week's on podcast catch of the day bonus, I was like, maybe I'll do this a little bit. I made it like 3 days. I got like 4 stars on the like Pokemon a day thing, and then I missed one day. But I just been playing from my house, just open it up, see what pops up, because usually something pops up right next to you. So
Yeah, right when you turn it on.
yeah, that's about it. I haven't been like trekking anywhere.
You know what I got? That was happy but kind of disappointing.
What'd you got?
My first 7-day streak evolution item was another upgrade. I'd already had an upgrade, and I
Damn.
can only evolve Porygon with it.
Hell
so I was
yeah.
like, great, I already did this.
You can get hashtag 2 Porygon 2.
Hopefully next time it'll be like, I'm looking for a King's Rock, a metal coat, and another Sunstone. That's what I
Hashtag
need.
2 gone, 2 porous.
Yeah, 2 gone.
2 gone, 2 porous.
2 gone, 2 porous.
2 porous.
Oh, 2 porous.
Yeah.
I thought like porous, like a
No, not like a sponge. Like
yeah.
like a Porygon.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Now that you
Hashtag Dugong Do Furious.
hashtag
Porygon.
2 Porygon 2. The number 2, the word Porygon, the number 2 again. Hashtag 2 Porygon 2.
And space and then a lowercase b.
My
Good luck.
dream would be that if you did that on Twitter, it would like put a little Porygon 2 after your tweet.
Aw.
That'd be so cute.
Anyway.
Another thing that happened in our Pokemon week was that we finally aired the finale of our Pokemon Sun Let's Play.
Yeah, yeah.
53 episodes. That's the longest thing we've ever done on the Dex.
It is.
Except for the actual Dex.
So, yeah, except for
Well,
the Dex.
And the Dex Versus.
And the Dex podcast.
And the Dex Podcast. It's the shortest thing we've ever done on the Dex. But hey.
It's the first like long. Well, I guess it's the second long form. Never mind. It's not special in any way. Don't watch it.
It wasn't that good. Nobody watch it.
No.
No, I really had a fun time with it.
I did too.
And I'm really glad that the people who watched it Like, had a good time. More of you could watch it.
Yeah, now that it's all out, you don't even have to wait. So like maybe you can binge watch
somebody
it.
somebody asked me if I would put a playlist out that's the proper order, like backwards, like 1 through 53, and I'm like, oh duh, of course I should do that.
Yeah, absolutely we should.
So I'm gonna do that.
So you should go watch that in your spare time. Watch me learn everything about Pokemon without knowing anything about it.
Oh man, the Toucanon.
By Pokemon, she means Pokemon Sun, specifically.
Oh man, the Toucanon moment.
I know everything about Pokemon
moment
now.
is epic.
Oh man. But yeah, we really had a great time. Anything else happen Pokemon-wise this week? I've been battling. I watched Ray Rizzo. I think that was like a pretty old video, but he had a cool video where he was queuing online on the ladder or whatever, and he was like 15 something because he like I think he probably like doesn't train on the same DS that he streams with, and so it resets his ranking every time. But he like basically just like was battling, and then like it matched him with like a 1950 or whatever level rank, and it turned out to be Sejun Park. And he was like, I haven't played against him since we were both world champions in 2012 or whatever, like facing down. He was like, this is a good little battle. It was a good fight. It was really cool. But that's really, I haven't done much. I mean, I've just been playing with my team a little bit, less than I would like because I've been really slammed at work, but you know how it is.
Man, March and April. Always slam time at work.
Yeah,
if
March
you're
and
slammed
April.
at work, I feel bad for you because don't worry, we're all there too.
You always get bodied right in this
sick
month,
bars.
man. It's the roughest month of the year by far. Did you buy? Oh, you know what? Did I talk about that I got the Pokedex? Or
No,
was
you
that
did.
last week?
I don't know. I don't think it was last week.
The book? Oh yeah, because we talked about the interview that was in it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
that's
said,
right.
It was totally last week.
That was a great book. One thing that I want to add to that, I don't know if I talked about this last week, is that it came with a poster. It's like a huge poster. It's got that like sort of like money vibe to the paper so that you can like iron it flat, iron out the folds. But you know, like I would love to hang something like that up because it's such beautiful art, but then they like slap the logo on it.
Yeah.
And
like
I think
really big logo.
Yeah, I think they do that to like protect the copyright or whatever, but like I don't want to hang something that's got a logo on it.
Yeah.
I would love to know what you guys think about that and whether or not you can recommend to me some official Pokemon art that I can hang up that doesn't have a big ugly logo that says like the game name in like 90s font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It bums me out.
I mean, there's those like online Ken Sugimori prints that you can get that don't have Pokemon's logo on them, but like they're like $200.
Are they a fish?
Yeah.
Are they
they're on PokemonCenter.com.
Oh,
I gotta show them to you, man. They're so cool.
I
looking.
do not know about those. That is tight. I want to see those. Please send me a link
Yeah.
to my cell phone.
I'm gonna send you a link to your cell phone, your cellular device.
Thanks. What a wonderful time we live in. Right, Wallace?
Right.
I hope anybody could hear that. He snorted.
snorted.
But speaking of everybody hearing stuff, let's jump into the news!
Welcome to the news, darlings.
All right. How's that?
It was an
That's
ear
good.
strike.
Pretty solid?
Yeah. An ear strike, if you will.
Ear strike.
Great. Okay, so this is the part where we talk about Pokemon news. Amazingly, the 2 new 3DS themes we talked about last week are now globally available. We were like, they usually come out like a month later. Maybe we'll get them. But it was weird that like there's a Shiny Tapu Koko one and there's no Shiny Tapu Koko event. But they're out. The Team Skull one is called A Sinister Organization Team Skull, and the other one is called Shiny Tapu Koko. They're $199 each. But there's still no news about like a Shiny Tapu Koko for any sort of North American or European release. Bumtown.
That's all right.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get one, but maybe that's what we'll be talking about next week. Any interest in getting the Team Skull one, Jimmy?
If I used my 3DS more frequently, yeah, but like I haven't used it frequently enough to get sick of the Monster Hunter one.
Ja feel.
Makes the feline sound every time you open up the thing. It goes meow, meow. And then it has the little like kids bop version of the theme, or like tiny world version of the Monster Hunter theme, where it's played with like small instruments like pan flutes and stuff.
Yeah, the like cute Pixar
It's
version.
just it's very cute. It's
Love
a
it.
cute theme, and I'm sticking with that for now. But also, like, if I was to get the Team Skull one, I would mostly be interested in even knowing or understanding how someone would go about
Yeah, as much as I'd like to own
changing
it, as much as I'd like to own it and will own it,
Right.
I don't know whether or not I could make it my actual theme.
Right. Like morally though, right? Like
more,
you, like
it's
you know.
more about that I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't bring myself to
Right.
do it. But I'm interested to know how somebody does do it.
Yeah.
I tuned out because I was looking at this art on the wall and came back and realized what you were doing. That was what my was.
Great. But yeah, in other news though,
this artwork is very cool.
What?
This artwork is very cool.
I really want to see it. But check this out.
Yeah.
I see you theme button on the Nintendo Switch. I see you there in the options menu with nothing to change right now. But I want that. I see that. Give me my Pokemon Switch theme immediately. When you announce that you're putting out Pokemon Stadium 3DS for Switch tomorrow, please. What? Yeah, I want that to happen as well.
Pokemon Stadium 3DS for Switch.
Yeah, like you can use the 3DS to put it on. You know what?
It's like a worse name than New Super Mario Brothers U.
Yeah, you know what? Isn't there like a New Super Mario Brothers 2 also that came out the same year?
Yeah, New Super Mario Brothers 2 is on the 3DS.
Yeah, and then New Super Mario Brothers
U is not on the 3DS.
I know, but it's just so similar.
It's really dumb.
Anyway, moving on from this theme news. If you participated in the Kanto X Alola competition, you can now pick up your Pidgeotite and Steelixite on the Global Link website. I love Mega Pidgey. I love how it looks.
Oh,
Kudos to you if you participated. I did not have the time to do that. But if you did do that, you have until April 27th to do it, so don't forget to do it. Hilda made an announcement about this on the Dex News this week. So if you want more info there, you can do that. And you can also find out about the battle competition this week. But separate distributions for these Mega Stones, if you're willing to wait, will be done through a shared code and will begin later in the spring. And I imagine the same thing goes for Beedrillite and Mawilite, which have not come out yet, right?
As far as I know. Wait, didn't they?
Not for everyone.
Didn't they?
Not for everyone.
They?
No, they got released from the competition that
You
there
know
were
what?
prizes for, but the
Yeah.
official releases
It's
are
just
not out
hard
yet.
to know anything anymore.
I mean, how
What do you
would
mean?
you?
How could you know
What do you? Okay.
it all?
All right. It's all good. We're back. Hey, the
All
next competition, which is the 2017 International Challenge April competition, which was announced. This is like the every other they do like a VGC one.
Yeah.
Double battle competition using VGC 2017 rules requiring the Alola Pokedex only. No big boy legendaries, no Mega Stones. Registration starts April 19th through the 27th, and battles are the weekend of the 28th through the 30th.
Nice.
I will definitely be participating in this. Not just because it's like a great chance to like actually play some VGC, but also because all participants get the Sceptilite, the Swampertite, and Blazikenite Mega Stones.
Yo.
Yeah, and if you are part of Play Pokemon, you can actually earn championship points.
Yep.
So I'm going to figure that out as well before.
If you rank high.
Well, you got to just rank pretty good. Like, you don't have to be super... You don't have to be super good.
You
know
gotta
what
be
I
like
mean?
pretty good.
Yeah. But you can, like, I feel like it's achievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe in your dreams. Hope
yeah.
as always.
But I'm gonna sign up. What I'm saying is, it's not like a huge stretch to imagine getting these points.
Right.
But I'm gonna make sure I'm registered with Play Pokemon. I don't know exactly how to do that. Or
No,
whether-
you like are if you're on Global Link. You just have to like go onto the Play Pokemon part and like track your championship points.
Okay, well I'm just gonna make sure that I can do that. I just
Yeah.
want to like get those. But I will be participating. Maybe I'll stream it or record it. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know how many battles you can do per day. Yep. Yep. But that's it for that. But moving on to more Global Link stuff, we got the Global Link global mission. The 5th global mission has already started. The goal is hatching 200,000 eggs. It's already been completely crushed many times over.
Yeah.
But if you
We're
want
like
the reward,
over 1 million for sure.
yeah, by far. Hatching eggs is like easy peasy. Like I've hatched how many eggs in my life on Pokemon Sun already? 100, 200, something like that. It's crushed. But if you want the reward, make sure you sign up for it before the 10th of April. You have plenty of time to do this. And also just sign up with the Global Link. Like, what are you doing if you're not signed up with the Global Link? You get 2,000 festival coins if you're not signed up, but you get 4,000 if you do. If the first 2 times didn't push you over the edge to the highest ranks possible, this time probably will, right?
Okay, fine.
You might as well do it.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. If you hatch 3 or more eggs, also, which takes literally 4 minutes now that you have the Tauros and
I
Flame
definitely
Body.
have that Tauros, yeah.
Yeah. You have it.
I do.
Yeah.
I wasn't being
Oh, yeah.
sarcastic. I'm serious.
Okay.
Everyone's
Yeah.
got the Tauros.
If you played the game, you got
Played the
Tauros.
game like for 4 or 5 hours, you got the Tauros.
Yeah. If you hatch 3 or more eggs, you get a rare candy and a love ball too.
Yo.
Cute
Nice.
boys. And that's really it for the news this week. Nothing too crazy. But I do want to just report one piece of news that's pretty scandalous-ish.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would just say interesting.
I just think like kind of just like
Interesting, noteworthy,
brutal.
good. Not well.
We'll get into that in a minute. But
I'm lost, so I'm interested.
so
to see
this
what this
has
is.
to do with the battle spot.
Okay.
So this week, the Pokemon Company banned 7,651 players from online activity in Sun and Moon for having altered their save data. Okay.
Okay.
So this ban prevents those users from entering in raiding battles and battle competitions using GameSync, and participating in global missions. That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
They released a statement that they will continue to pursue edited and illegal save data and continue to enact bans. The same thing happened back in January when another 5,954 people were banned from BattleSpot. So watch yourselves, kids. Here's the thing about cheating, again, real quick. Actually, you know what? Let's just jump into it because I'm just going to start talking about it and then we're going to talk about it. It's time for the Discussment! Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing about cheating, right? In the past, I have been vilified, raged against, supported, all sorts of things with respect to my attitude for cheating in the past gen, which was my basic thesis was this: people were genning legendary Pokemon to battle with, and maybe not even legendary Pokemon, which is another discussion, but they've been genning perfectly legitimate in terms of stats, like nothing to give them
unobtainable.
Nothing to give them any sort of, power advantage other than that they didn't put in the time that somebody who did it legitimately would do. But at the time, the problem was that getting a legitimately perfect Pokemon sometimes could take, especially with the legendaries, what I believe to be an unreasonable amount of time. You know what I mean? Especially when it's just a pure random chance.
Even if you have your optimal setup, which would be a synchronized Pokemon with the right nature in the front, so you can at least get them natured. Every time you catch it, it's still a gamble on what are its IVs, and you need 4 to probably 5 perfect IVs to make a good push in VGC.
Sometimes 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you're gonna want to have 6. And it's the idea of doing that is crazy, right?
Just because everything legendary was pure RNG and you had to wait through their cutscenes and you actually had to perform the capture and everything, and there was multiple legendaries within the meta.
Exactly.
So not only do you have to do it once, but if you want a pretty viable team, you have to do it probably about 3 times just to cover your Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza bases. But there's still more beyond that are viable in that season, so...
Yeah, and also even breeding, you could have bad luck, But now, and my view at the time was look, yeah, I do believe that it is illegal to cheat, and if you get caught cheating, you should be disqualified. Always, right? If you get caught. But I think that the cheating at the time was a reflection on some problems that existed within the system of the game. You know what I mean? And I think that, and I've always said that if they made some changes to the way these Pokemon were obtained so that they were easier to obtain through legal means, number one, more people would do it. And number two, I would be completely against cheating at that point, because at that point, you're just being a jerk. You know what I mean? And so for me, now that there's a clear road to getting any Pokemon to be viable, thanks to hyper training and whatnot, sure, it's still a little bit of work, but it's not an unreasonable amount. And I think that being if you cheat, you're not going to be able to compete online is a pretty reasonable thing. But some people have been railing against this because they're I want to play the game however I want to play it. But
that's just unrealistic to begin with.
That's fine if you're not going to enter into a officially sanctioned competition where you can earn points towards championships.
The second you interact with strangers who are playing the game, you pretty much revoke your rights to play it however you want.
Exactly. And I didn't even mean for this to be a discussion about the cheating. I just think that it's interesting that Pokemon's hey, we're gonna start being a little bit more interactive on this cheating stuff. If you play an online multiplayer game like Destiny or something like that, people that cheat are shut down very, very, very fast, and they're really on top of that sort of thing. Whereas Pokemon is now doing it a lot more, and people are giving them flack for it, which doesn't really make any sense because they're just trying to become a more viable, moderated online community.
Especially since they just introduced rules that make the cheating part probably, it's still easier than putting the work to get a Pokemon, but like
unreasonable.
It's not like the only route now to keep up with the competitive scene. Like if you need to change your team, you don't need to spend 40, 50 hours grinding up a single Pokemon just to make sure it has the right nature and stats.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they've put those rules in place that make it much easier, it's kind of them admitting like, our last systems were bad and that's why we didn't really enforce this a lot.
Yeah.
Now we think the system is good and we're going to enforce it going forward.
And no disrespect to people who put in the effort either. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If you put in the effort and you feel like jilted that like people are winning competitions with Pokemon that they didn't work as hard for, I understand the frustration, but I think you got to be like, up until this season, I think you really have to be reasonable about that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that makes you morally better than them when it's a competition about battling. You know what I mean? But now I think it's easy enough that like there's no need to resort to that. Simple as that.
I agree. And another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on for people that are worried is I kind of looked a little bit into the question that we had last week on like, what if someone trades me a hacked Pokemon? Is my account at risk? To my knowledge, no, it doesn't seem to be that way because the vetting for that kind of thing is based on where the Pokemon originally came from.
Yeah, it has to do with your save file. It has to do with...
But that being said, if you happen to get like a 6 IV competitive ready Garchomp on Wonder Trade, you might want to not use it just in case. I would just say like, if you're going to try to put some Pokemon in competitions, make sure you know their origins, and like getting something you got on Wonder Trade or through the GTS like from someone that you don't know like might not be the best idea.
Yeah,
so
it's a little irresponsible.
Just keep yourself safe and don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah.
Simple.
The candy being a cool Pokemon.
Strangers being...
I mean, you can
strangers.
take it. Like, I think somebody traded me, like, a shiny Aegislash. I'm pretty sure that's not a real Aegislash, but, like, I'm not going to use it for anything.
Exactly. And, like, you're not in any trouble at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, as much as they need to be responsible about keeping cheaters out of their competitive scene, you as a player also need to be responsible about what Pokemon you bring to competition. You know what I mean? The only way to, like... make it work right is if you are both taking it seriously, both play Pokemon and you. So I think as crappy as it is, if this happened to you, you shouldn't have broken the terms of service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
Simple as that. They, before you sign up for any sort of online thing, they give you a terms of service to read. And this is definitely probably part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I actually don't know for sure, but I don't think they would be able to do this so easily if it wasn't. So I mean, I don't know. I think that's reasonable. I think like we're all on the same page about this, and I hope that you guys see where we're coming from too. I don't mind if you disagree, and I would really encourage you to write in if you do. But also, this has been a problem in the past. Please don't resort to name calling if you can't actually come up with an argument to defend your point of view. Cool?
Yeah, I just think it's important just in case anybody out there is confused. None of us flip-flopped on this issue, but we made it clear what our problem, what our pass was basically for why cheating exists in the previous gens. And with this version of the Pokemon games, they pretty much addressed all of our issues that we had with the system.
I don't necessarily think people should have been cheating in Gen 6 anyway, I just don't think that it should be enforced this heavily considering how hard it is to get these Pokemon. But now it's fine. And cheating should be less allowed. Simple.
Yeah,
Easy.
I just think it should not be a surprise that they're enforcing it now that they made their own system get around it without resorting to that stuff.
Especially because this is what a lot of people have been clamoring for the whole time. But yeah, if you have anything you want to add to that, just be respectful. I don't care if it's negative or against us in any way. Absolutely not. But just don't be rude. And we'll read it next week. Just like we're about to do for last week's responses to what we did this week. FANSWERS segment.
FANSWERS, da 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 da. FANSWERS, da 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 da.
Yeah.
You got it.
I got to it. We got to it eventually.
You did get there.
This
Somehow
is the FANSWERS segment. Yeah. This is the FANSWERS segment. Welcome to the part of the show where we listen to you guys send in the fan mails. I've been getting some questions about this lately, so I'm going to just remind everybody of this.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of responses. This is a fairly popular Pokemon podcast that people will listen to and interact with on a regular basis. Don't be offended if you don't get read on here for a while. I don't go back and read old emails beyond the week unless I say I'm going to, because we have like a shortened cast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you really still want me to read something, just send it in again, but don't spam it.
I mean, don't copy paste, but like if you have a point, you can continue to write in or write in again or write something different in. But like, yeah, if you wrote an email like 4 or 5 months ago, it's at this point, it's probably not going to be read because this is a current events podcast.
Yeah.
So, feel free to write in again if you want.
Yeah. I just don't want people like waiting around to
no, I've seen on Twitter people being like, oh, I'm waiting for my podcast to be my email to be read. I sent it in so long ago. And, we just wanted to make it clear that that's not how it works.
No shade thrown towards you guys.
It's all current, so if you haven't been read and you sent it a while ago, maybe send it again or type a new email.
We check it.
Maybe it was too long.
We choose them completely randomly, other than like the length sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, I'm literally just sitting here like choosing them at random. So don't trip about it. I promise that I don't have a vendetta against you. Just don't write creepy emails and don't write nasty ones. Cool?
Cool.
Yeah, we cool.
All
right.
Cool.
I won't do that.
Yeah. This next email.
It's first email.
Well, yeah, this first email in this episode. Oh man, this one comes from Avid Apathy. It's called Immersion Break. Dear Alex, Hilda, Kellz, and Jimmy, I will take your subtle hint to mean that you want Hilda back on the podcast. I hope you guys are all having a great week. Thank you so much for doing such a great job with, everything you do.
Aww.
Us fans out here really appreciate it. Anywho, onto the email. Sun and Moon are great games. There's almost no denying that. However, they are not flawless, and one moment in particular really broke my immersion. One of the first times you visit the Ether Paradise, Wick asks you and how your ages, and your only option is 11 years old. As a person who is not 11 years old and does not want to be treated as a child, even in the context of a game, this really took me out of the moment. One thing I liked about past generations' characters was their young but almost ageless quality. You can tell they're young, but their actual age is hard to discern just by looking at them. Anyway, what did you guys think about this moment? Have there ever been moments in games for you that really took you out of the action? Thanks and best wishes, Avid Apathy.
I remember this moment in this game, and
I do as well.
It's very interesting because we often talk about the concept of Pokemon, the protagonist being so stoic because they're supposed to be you, and this actually definitely does break that. I mean, traditionally, the Pokemon journey starts at around 11 years old, but that definitely was not the case in Black and White. In Black and White 2, I think they were 16 officially in the canon.
Yeah, that was a purposeful sort of move by them to age up the hero for a generation.
Right. And so so it's interesting that they went back to being 11 years old, because I didn't see myself as 11 years old. I just saw myself as a cute little anime sprite. And I felt that was, it's me. But I see where you're coming from with that. And I'm trying to think of any games that did that otherwise to me, and I can't.
To break your immersion?
Yeah, breaking my immersion.
Well, first, I really want to say, with regard to, because you mentioned anime, in anime in general, this happens to me all the time. Just once I find out how old the people are supposed to be, I'm always what?
Like Jesse and James when they were originally. Okay, how old do you guys know how old Jesse and James are on the anime?
I vaguely recall, but I think James is 23 and Jesse's a little older.
No.
Is it much younger?
In the original anime, Jesse and James were supposed to be 15 to 17.
Gross.
Isn't that weird?
Insane. I was just watching Samurai Champloo. Jin is supposed to be 20, Mugen's supposed to be 19, and Fu's supposed to be 15.
Jin is supposed to be 20?
20 years old. Yeah,
really
I don't know how he could even be gritty and edgy at all, but he's 20. So that's just a thing.
Yeah, I definitely understand where this email is coming from. I guess I didn't realize it didn't bother me much because in my head I'm always all the Pokemon protagonists are 10, because that's the canon that they gave us. Even though when I'm playing, I'm no 10-year-old is doing this. No 10-year-old will ever do this.
Yeah,
you're not like pulling the wool over my eyes. My character is 18 in my head, but like I just accept that they're 10.
Yeah.
Hey, now official canon is that Jesse and James are in their 20s. So you're
Cool.
right about that.
I am caught up.
Great. Though I will say, in terms of breaking my immersion, the thing that always gets me, and this was like Fallout 4 was super guilty of this, is like gives you like, they don't tell you exactly what you're gonna say as your response. They give you like sort of like a sort of like paraphrase version of it,
Yeah.
and then your character responds, and it's like way more aggro or way more sexual or way more like encouraging than you want it to be. And
that
you're
happened to me in Horizon yesterday. Like I was like, there was this guy that was like asking me a question about like, asking me about like, oh, did this girl that you saved, she died actually. She was like, did she suffer? And like my options were to be like, to like react with kindness, react with my smarts, or react with like anger or whatever. And I chose to react with kindness, and I ended up like flirting with him, and it was like, no, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
Ew.
exactly.
Ew,
like,
no.
Yeah, exactly. I think
just because I chose like kindness, I was like, no. I just wanted to be like nice to you because your friend died.
that seems like illogical to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
I hate that. I hate that in games.
Yeah.
That you're right. That does break my immersion. That's the exact example.
But thank you so much for that email.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. This next email comes from Daniel Awesome, and it's called Pokemon Sizes Should Be a Real Thing. Hey, Dex crew, Daniel Awesome here. Just a quick idea this week. Last week, Thomas sent an email about more variant models for Pokemon. I remember that email. And you guys mentioned Heracross with bigger horns or claws, and that got me thinking. Pokemon should implement the sizes of Pokemon for real. Use a similar system to Monster Hunter where Pokes can be varying and visible sizes. They've always had some kind of internal system for it, at least for Magikarp and Barboach, and I think Krabby as well. And there are fishermen in Johto that will measure your fish Pokemon, and it remembers their size even when traded or remeasured. Anyway, that's what I think. Hopefully Mr. Miyamoto himself has the pull to get that in. Is that joke still relevant?
I get it.
Yeah. If you've ever been to any panel that I've ever been on, you will find out exactly how relevant that joke still is. But I mean, I agree with this. I don't know about like,
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I think in some cases, like maybe they need to like rethink the size of a Pokemon before they implement this, and then just sort of like, reverse.
Or like maybe not even. Maybe we just all want 5-foot furrets.
Like Furret is not one of the ones that I would change the size of, but like something like Wailord, it's like, okay.
Nope. Wailord's gotta stay. That has to stay.
But you know who needs to be bigger? A lot of the legendaries need to be bigger. Because you look at like, I don't know, like
it's like
there's like Groudon, it's like 14 feet tall. So it's like
Yeah.
actually only as big as the ceiling.
That's true. Or like Giratina is like, you walk up to it and you're like, you're also taking up 1 square of space on this map. Yeah. So I think in that case, I'm down. I'm 100% into this.
Yeah.
I like this just as much as I like the other idea.
I mean,
Anything
it's
that
like
can,
the thing they did with Punkaboos.
Yeah.
Like it would be annoying if they attached stats to it for every single Pokemon, because especially for like competitive, you'd be like, oh, well, I'm trying to breed down a small Onix because its speed is a little higher or something. And I think that would add a lot of tedium. But just for fun, just for looks, and maybe like a record that says smallest or largest of X species captured, then I think that would be cool.
Yeah, like
like
Zelda.
in Pokemon Go.
Like Zelda fishing.
And you know what they could do just to like make it more interesting is they could have an exponentially so like Pokemon can just keep getting bigger like into infinity.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that it's an exponential decrease in how fast they get bigger with a coin flip on every tick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to keep flipping coins that say heads until one says tails. And however many heads I got, that's how large this Pokemon's going to be on the scale.
You're
so there's going to be
algorithming it right now.
Yeah.
Love it.
There would be like a really well-defined the largest side of this is like 7 feet average. But theoretically, someone can get like a 15-foot tall whatever if they just got amazing coin flips.
Yeah. Or just play Pokemon Go and just forget about everything you've ever known about Pokemon. The weight of Pokemon is like insane in that game.
Did you see how huge my Haunter was?
No.
Oh, I'll show you later. It was enormous.
What size?
I mean, it said it was like 2.5 meters, but like when I put it as my buddy, it was like taller than me by double or whatever. It was floating directly behind me, and it was so large that I was like, I don't like this.
I need to change my buddy. My buddy right now is a Meowth. That's my first buddy I've ever had.
My buddy is a Scyther.
That's
Admirable.
Because we're Gen 2. I gotta
get that Caesar.
Stick with the brand. You know?
My current buddy is Mareep.
Mareep?
Trying to get that.
Also very on brand.
Yep.
Okay. So last week we talked a little bit about the fact that Game Freak was hiring 3D modelers and stuff, and speculated that it has to do with something about Pokemon on the Switch. We were talking about people wanting it, people not wanting it. We asked people what they thought. So here's one from Gym Leader Whitney that says thoughts on Pokemon Switch. Hey there, Dexcast. Gym Leader Whitney here. I just wanted to throw in my thoughts on the discussion about Pokemon moving to the Switch. I think the most upsetting thing about Pokemon moving to the Switch would be if they did it soon, just because of the availability of the system. I wanted to see reviews of the Switch before I bought it. Mighty Number 9 hurt me. And since then, I just cannot get one. I've left contact information with every shop that sells game consoles in town and several in the nearby 2 towns so I can know when they restock them, in each one, and no dice. I'd be a bit upset about an exclusive for a system I can't get my hands on. Unlike Breath of the Wild, how they did that was great. I think some of the perceived outrage could stem from that. It took me a bit to realize why I didn't like the idea until I realized that was it. Food for thought, maybe? Hashtag sorry for the long email. Hashtag it probably isn't. Hashtag but on a phone it looks like a Tolkien novel. Hashtag are you sure you've ever read a Tolkien novel? Because
it's my favorite one, the Silmarillion.
You know what? If you have a Tolkien novel on your phone, your phone gets thicker.
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Wismer email gun. All right. Thanks for all that you guys do. Gym Leader Whitney. Hashtag Wismer email gun.
I think that it was good of you to wait until you saw reviews for it. I'm fully on board with that idea, and I actually definitely agree with you that it should be more widely available before they release major titles on it.
I can't imagine that they would,
Yeah, with how successful their console release was, I mean, it's already more available than the Wii was, and that's not a stretch, right? That's real, right?
It sold more than the Wii did at launch.
Right, but I'm saying more people that have gotten a Switch as opposed to are waiting to get a Switch.
As far as I know, but
I guess that's from my bubble, but yeah.
Also, Twitter, today on Nintendo on Twitter was like, Mario and Luigi are still packing the Switches, so contact your stores. I think they're gonna come back in stock pretty soon.
Do another wave of it.
Yeah, so hopefully by the time you hear this,
packing Switches. A little bit more. Can you imagine Mario and Luigi at the warehouse packing Switches?
There's literally a photograph of Mario and Luigi putting Switches away into boxes and packing them.
At this point, don't they have people they can hire to do that? Can't we get them
But maybe it's that hands-on approach that's
Isn't Toad can't they get a Toad to do it?
Do you mean a slave?
No, a Toad who lives in the town and needs a job.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for that email. This next
Mario has a lot of important things to do, and Luigi does too. Okay?
Don't worry about them. This is a Pokemon podcast. This next email, thank you for that email, Whitney. This next one is from Kit. Service Pokemon. Hi, Jesse, James, Meowth, and possibly Wobbuffet. I'm sure that's the right group of people, awesome people associated with Pokemon.
Am I Meowth or are you Meowth?
I probably am Meowth.
I'm definitely James.
What? My name is actually James.
His name is literally James.
No, but
you have pink hair.
I've had long blue hair.
Right.
You have pink hair.
You know what? Oh, we should cosplay together. We never thought of this.
Rare.
Oh,
rare.
I guess that means Alex. Alex has always been Meowth.
I have some bad news.
True.
I have some bad news.
What?
I'm not going to be cosplaying as Meowth in that cosplay.
Can you be Victory Bell?
Can I be Beware?
I feel like Wallace is the Wobbuffet though, because he always interrupts us while we're trying to do stuff.
Yeah. He kind of sucks. Can't do anything.
You love him, but
yeah, he's definitely part of the team. But
he shows up at inconvenient times.
Yeah, I want to be the Beware in the apron.
Great.
Anyway, people often talk about how great Pokemon would be as pets, but when someone wrote into you a while back about seeing Oranguru signing in a Sun and Moon trailer, how many Pokemon will be excellent service Pokemon?
Oh, so many.
You'd think as it inspired this, my example would be Oranguru as an interpreter, but of course that wouldn't work. It couldn't communicate the signs back into vocal language. Instead, just use a telepathic Pokemon such as the Ralts line to communicate directly. But that's just the most obvious example, and I'd love to hear what you and your listeners think, though. Sorry for the lengthy email. No. Later, man. Kit. Hashtag insert hashtags here.
Luxray, seeing eye Pokemon. Luxray is so good at seeing, it can see between, under, and around things.
Question. Do you think Luxray could close its eyes and then open them again and then they're like flashlights?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think it can do that.
How about this? What about a Mudsdale for walking over rocky terrain? Or how about a Machamp to carry you around?
Stop it. awkwardly carry you while also pushing a large rock.
But also, like, imagine you're like, have you ever seen?
Why aren't you on his back?
Like, well, I mean, okay, imagine if you like can't use your legs, but you want to like go like on like some sort of like uneven ground or like up on like basic thing. Like maybe a Machamp could like grab you and like carry you.
It's just weird that he's also pushing a large rock at the same time.
He's got 4.
But it's weird because like he's sandwiching you between the
You're
rock
right. Like it's
and
weird.
him.
It's definitely weird. But maybe he's pushing with his elbows on the other arm.
It's still weird.
Hashtag he's got 4.
Anyway, service Pokemon.
Chansey as like a rehabilitation Pokemon, because doesn't it like what's the one? No, what's the one that shoots out like stuff that makes you feel happy?
Isn't that Comfy?
Musharna?
No, that's a dream. That's a sleep Pokemon.
That
you know, Drowsy though. Like, let's cure insomnia with Drowsy, guys.
Drowsy's too scary.
Nah, Drowsy's okay. Hypnosis
I would rather
bad.
it be Musharna for sure.
Yeah, Musharna is like a good.
Or Jigglypuff would be a better one.
Or what was I gonna say? It was something good. I know it was. How about Avalugg for a lake fairy, like fairy Ferry?
How about Avalugg for like a dining room table?
Avalugg for the counter at Cold Stone.
That's pretty solid. How about one like Torkoal, but it's like a pizza oven?
Okay, you guys are getting away from like service Pokemon or now, just like Pokemon jobs.
But they have magic powers.
Like
I know they do have magic powers,
but it's Torkoal in the middle.
Yeah, and he's just like, it's a living.
Oh no. Great.
Yeah. What about like Chingling, right? Doesn't the bell make people happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
That's a good one.
Pavlov's Chinglings.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
No, this is great. This is a great idea.
There's a million.
There's so many.
There
so
is
many
a
good
million.
ones.
Alolan Executor for reaching high things. All right, I'm done. All right, thank you for that email. This next one comes from Nick.
Back massage.
This next one comes from Nick. Cosmetic DLC for Pokemon. Hey there, Dexcast. Nick here. I'm not sure if you've talked about this before, but what is your thoughts on cosmetic DLC for Pokemon games? I've been playing a lot of Rocket League, and I bought all the DLC cards, which are just cosmetic. I know that if Pokemon released clothing or possibly outfits for my ride Pokemon, I would totally buy it all.
Oh.
How do you guys feel about this? Cheers. Hashtag laterman. Hashtag sorry for the short email. Hashtag clean. Love it.
I'd be kind of into it. I like generally have not a huge qualm about buying DLC if I feel like I like it. And
I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those
deserved.
people who's like, it should be free. It's not a finished game if I have to pay for my Machamp to wear a Team Skull jersey.
I am firmly in the camp that if the game is full price, then the DLC should be something worthwhile. However, in certain cases like Rocket League, which admittedly is not a full price game, that's a $20 game. I would buy DLC just to support the developers and not even use the DLC because that's a very good game and there's a lot of passion that's put into it.
Yeah.
Well, like
for a Pokemon game that's already full price, I would prefer if they just released a couple of free packs or maybe like really, really cheap stuff. But as far as...
Or maybe it's like in-game currency, like you can buy it with in-game currency or with your currency.
And as far as cosmetic DLC goes, in a competitive game, I like that better than them being able to like buy bottle caps or something, you know?
If you look at like something like Halo or Call of Duty or something like that, typically what they do, right, because it is a full price game when you buy it originally, is that there'll be like a couple things that are free that you can just get, but then like there's like a bunch more stuff that you can pay for. And I'm like honestly, if it's cosmetic, like I really don't care about it being there. Like I'm never like, this makes my gameplay experience worse that I can't have this pointless thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially like something like, you know, making my Alolan, my like Rotom Dex, like making him different colors or something like that, or like the ride Pokemon idea, or like even just like hats for my Pokemon. I like don't care about that. It's the same thing as like Street Fighter V having like costumes. As long as it doesn't like give me any sort of advantage, you could have as much paid DLC as you want.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing as a 3DS theme for me. Like
I feel like DLC is supposed to be like bonus content, and that if you never bought any of the DLC, then you wouldn't notice that the game was
exactly. And I subscribe to that way of thinking as well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people are quick to jump on all DLC just because so much of it is like BS.
And it also, it depends on the kind of game, because I say that, but then I also think of like Destiny, which is very, very different if you buy the expansions, but that's less DLC and more expansions for an ongoing MMO.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean.
And so like I feel like the wires get crossed a lot though, and a lot of people don't like take that into account of what kind of game and what the model of the game is.
Say what you will about Destiny. Like I mean, like there's a lot of people who believe that Destiny is an incomplete game from the get-go. You know what I mean? But if you accept the premise that it's worth paying $60 for Destiny, right? Which I do. You know what I mean? I played it before any DLC came out for 100 hours at least. You know? Like if you accept that premise and then they're like more story content and more raids and more weapons and you pay $15, that's a model that's worked for years and years and years. Like look at Diablo, look at World of Warcraft, look at anything like that where it's truly an expansion.
All the old RTSs used to do that, and Roller Coaster Tycoon did that as well.
If it's truly an expansion, I will pay that big price for it, if I want it. But, stuff like I would not pay $15 for like a set of costumes. Like Street Fighter 4 charged like a lot of money for their costumes.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter 5 kind of mitigated that. They still charge a lot for their costumes, but like you can also earn them.
I mean, personally, aside from the more randomization factor of it, I like how Overwatch does it because you have the ability to unlock all the stuff by just playing the game a lot.
Exactly.
But I like how Total Biscuit puts it, where like for people like him, where he doesn't have 200 hours to grind up to get all the loot boxes to randomly get selected his favorite skin or whatever.
Slowly over the course of.
He is willing to put in the money to be like, I'll just drop, X amount of money, buy a bunch of loot boxes. Like, I'm cooler with that idea because like then people who are dedicated players can like just get it for, being a dedicated player. And like,
yeah, if you're playing it that much and you don't have the money, like, sure, we'll toss it to you like over time, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that system. Especially when it's not like super gated like a lot of mobile games are, where it's like, oh, you get one thing for free and the rest of the thing is going to take like 700 hours to grind up.
Yeah.
So it's like not forcing you, but really coercing you into using money.
Yeah. Exactly.
And for a full price game, I think that's a viable strategy to have the pay option there, but also allow it in game with a little bit of
save
work.
time. It's like the like more like above board version of like generating Pokemon.
Yeah.
Though I mean that would be not chill.
Like, so I guess long story short, I would be fine if they put cosmetic DLC in. I might do like the thing where I grab like one thing that I really want.
You want the Guzma glasses for your character.
Right, something like that. Yeah, something that I would definitely do that, but I wouldn't buy like everything. But I would be willing to look into it as long as it wasn't super expensive,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, sorry for the long answer. #
Chillin'. Okay. This is from... Thank you for that email. This next one is from Molten Steel Trainer Joe. Still no adventure? Joe is fine for the name, Alex. Gotcha. Hello to the Dexcast. Molten Steel Trainer Joe here. Why did you call yourself Molten Steel Trainer Joe in the email if you didn't want... Whatever. It's okay. I heard last week's cast about waiting for the Switch. I've still not gotten to dive into my Pokemon Moon. The backlog is real. At this point, with a possible new Pokemon coming on the Switch, should I still dive into Alola or just wait it out as a possible stars might be coming? I'm currently have Infinite Space and Dragon Quest VIII, both long RPGs ahead of Pokemon, and I feel that by the time I finish those, that Pokemon Switch game will be out. So I toss it to you. Should I wait for the Switch game and buy the obvious bundle that'll happen, or should I just crack my Moon and go for it there? Thanks as always, Molten Steel Trainer Joe. P.S. That Aaron I made for my Aggron family line since Gen 3 is probably mad at me now since I haven't taken her to Alola. Still don't believe in hashtags. I know this email isn't long. When I play it, Team Litten.
I would say by the time you finish those RPGs, it's safe to assume that this as of yet unannounced Pokemon project will be announced. I highly doubt it's going to be out.
But if it's not announced, play Pokemon Moon.
If you sit in there and you find yourself with a few moments and like you're like, well, I'm kind of done with the games that I want, like organically go to Moon, Yeah.
I think especially I think rule of thumb for me is if the game isn't announced yet, if a Switch version is not announced, just jump right into Moon. Why not?
Yeah, even though I have no basis for this, I personally don't think it's going to be a Stars or a, Sun and Moon 2.
I think the closest we'll get is a remake, and that'll probably be next year, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I would hope that it is a, Diamond and Pearl remakes or, a different adventure, a Gen 8.
I'll take like I said, I'll take a Pokemon Switch version of Sun and Moon, but it really has to be like an upgrade. You know what I mean? It really has to have some stuff for me to do that's not just like play that game again, but on your TV.
What I'm saying is, I personally doubt that it's going to be just a rehash of the same thing. So I think you're safe in getting Sun and Moon right now. But don't quote me on that because that's going off of just
We've been so wrong as many times as we've been right.
I think we've been right quite a few times.
Dude, I know.
When we're right, we're real right.
But sometimes
when
we're like,
wrong, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
When we're right, it's like Junichi Masuda is like copying off our paper over our shoulder.
Yeah. But when we're wrong, he's like, that's dumb. No.
You're dumb. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Thank you for that email. This next one's from Justin. Game Freak Hiring. Hey, DexCast, Kellz, Alex, Jimmy, and Wallace. Longtime listener, first-time emailer. So I want to touch on the topic of Game Freak hiring modelers. I've been in film and TV animation going on 10 years plus now and wanted to throw in my 2 cents. First off, modelers are usually a pre-production stage in the process before animation can start. We need the models and rigs made for each character so we can go in and bring them to life. So with saying that, I feel it's got to be a new game or a revamp of an older one, which I'd be happy with either way. Thanks for all the hard work on the decks, guys. Justin, don't mind you using my first name. Hashtag sorry for the long email. Hashtag hope as always. Hashtag high fives all around.
Thank you for that email. I always love getting insight
That was
from
our high five.
actual people.
So that, I mean, to play devil's advocate here, of course, it could be that they're just redesigning the game from the ground up to move it to the Switch. But I'm kind of with Jimmy here. I don't believe that we're going to see I don't think we're going to see just a 1080p version of Pokemon Sun.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of a step backwards.
I mean, especially because after that mod that came out that undid some setting on it that uncapped the size of those models, they're pretty high-res models to begin with, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't accept that low-res background stuff.
That's fair.
But I think it seems weird. It would be, unless they threw it in as a bonus if you buy the Gen 4 remakes or something like that, I would be kind of bummed.
Yeah.
You know, if it came out and it was $60 and it was just Pokemon Moon again.
It just interests me that they're going through another modeling stage because didn't they reuse the Pokemon Stadium models for
years,
4 or 5 more games?
Yeah, a lot of time.
Years.
So I'm surprised that they're already switching off of these models that were probably. Do you think that they did different models for Oros after X and Y?
Different models for Oros after X and Y?
Yeah.
I mean,
they were shaded differently and they looked differently.
I think maybe they tweaked them, but I don't think it was a whole new project. That would be kind of a waste of money, right?
I guess.
Since the games are so similar and they're in the same generation, that'd be kind of crazy.
Hey, here's an idea.
Okay.
Pokemon Gen 4 remakes.
Yeah.
Most defining feature of the entirety of Gen 4 IMO, Pokemon that follow you around.
Okay, yeah.
What do they not have models of right now? Every Pokemon in overworld form.
Yeah. That could be huge.
Gen 4 remakes with fully animated Pokemon that follow you around?
Yo.
Yo?
Kind of like
Yo.
Dragon Quest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
That'd be so cool.
What if you could have all 6 of them follow you around?
That would be insane. And you could play a little game of Snake.
Yeah. There's a guy at a stand who's like, I'll give you a heart piece if you can play Snake with your Pokemon.
Hilarious.
Got it. All right. Thank you for that email. This next one's from Mega Red. Non-Alolan Alolans outside of Alola? What's up, Dex dudes? Mega Red here with a curious glimpse into the future. In Sun and Moon, we were shown what evolutionary changes Kanto Pokemon took on in the Alola region. This begs the question. In the next gen, if we see any of the Alolan Pokemon outside of their region, could we potentially see a form they took on in whatever the next region is? Like a Mudsdale who would have had a different look and type that suits it better in a less tropical environment. Just a thought, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Peace, love, and Pokemon. Hashtag I am not sorry for the short email. Heck yeah. Hashtag pink hair Kellz forever. Hashtag Jafeel. Hashtag Wallace is a good boy. Hashtag Alolan Alex has a pink beard. Mega Red.
I would love to see Alolan Pokemon in other regions having different looks.
I would love the idea of finding out. I would love to find out. Oh my gosh, that's actually Alolan Toxapex. That's not the regular Toxapex. That's the Alolan one. The real one's from Gen 8. That'd be really cool.
That'd be crazy.
But I also would like to see I know we talked about this before, but I'd love to see in the Gen 4 remakes Sinnohan forms of Pokemon from Johto or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That would be so cool.
Even if it was like 10, you know what I mean? Like, I would be so down to like see like, I don't know, a Hoot who's like a white Hoot because he's like a snowy owl, something like that.
This reminds me of when we were talking about megas and like talking about all the megas that were going to be in Gen 7 and then like none were. But like even, you know, I think that forms of Pokemon is like such a no-brainer. And because in the interview they were talking about how like it's meant to model like diversity across like, you know, vast distances. I feel like this could be something that would more easily translate to other regions. I would like it. I want it.
It would be very fun to have that.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah.
So there.
Anything else?
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Thank you for that email. This next one is from Student Pilot Marcus called No Pokemon GameCube Love. Hey, DexCast, you can call me Student Pilot Marcus. I'm going to make this email a short field takeoff and get straight to the point of the subject. In one of the previous podcasts, number 128, I believe, Alex said that he didn't really care about the GameCube Pokemon games, specifically Coliseum and XD, I'm thinking. True. Yep. And later on in the same podcast says he wants a Pokemon game with a single-player campaign that uses VGC rules. Now, it's not one for one, but the majority of battles in the single-player campaign of XD and Coliseum are double battles, which is the battle style that VGC uses. Then he says in another podcast that he didn't like the Shadow Pokemon mechanic or the fact that you had to steal them from trainers. I'm going to equip my Choice Scarf and KO 2 Delibirds with 1 Stone Edge to address both of these quickly. Shadow Pokemon are the Pokemon that have had their hearts closed through some means. The evil team of these games, Cypher, has done this through artificial means to turn them into tools of battle and take over the world. How they plan to do that when they give some of them away is beyond me, but whatevs. In case you don't know, Ore, the region these games take place in, is nearly inhospitable for wild Pokemon, hence why you can't catch any until XD. So how does Cypher get more Pokemon to add to their arsenal? Enter Team Snag'em and their Snag Machine. If you feel you're questioning the morality of your player characters stealing Pokemon from their trainers, keep in mind that you didn't start the stealing and that at least half of these Pokemon were stolen from their original trainers, even if you could give them back. How would you find their original trainers? Except for the Shadow Togepi in XD, you can totally give it back, and you get a special Elekid for it too. The other half is the original trainers let Cypher do that to them. Not justifying stealing in general, just snagging Shadow Pokemon. Also, it's not like you're taking them to keep them that way when there is a way to purify them. Or do you? You can, but why? Anyway, that's it for this email. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. This is Student Pilot Marcus, now departing. P.S. DFTBA is an acronym that stands for Don't Forget to Be Awesome, used by the YouTuber Foot of a Ferret. And also, what's his name? John Green, right? I think.
I don't know.
Hashtag Team Moon, hashtag Team Mystic, hashtag Team Rowlet, hashtag Celesteela OPUB, hashtag Pilot Jargon, hashtag for a flying type, the win's easy, hashtag sorry for the subjectively long email.
I appreciate the education that you offered for us in regards to XD Gale of Darkness.
I agree, but here's the thing. This is also a made-up world that was based on like the mechanics of a video game that people invented. And like VGC and the battling in Coliseum and XD are pretty darn different.
Yeah.
Because number one, you can't train your Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like you can't like really take advantage of, like, I want the openness of Pokemon, like the mobile game.
Yeah, I think.
And also I don't really want that to be the only way you can battle in the game. Like I want it to be like, maybe there's like a VGC, like something that's not just like the battle tree. Like I'd love like something like Pokemon contests, but it's VGC.
I think in general, first of all, what is important to know is that, obviously, if you are in the opinion that the games are good, then nothing we can say can invalidate that. This is just
for sure. I mean, like you obviously had fun playing it, so like absolutely power to you.
However, I think that for me personally, and I think that probably you guys share this, is like we're not necessarily saying that Coliseum or Gale of Darkness are terrible games, but they're not good Pokemon games. There are a lot of games out there in different series that have the game name slapped on them, but were maybe started production under a different game, and they just kind of like Star Fox Adventures.
Sure.
They just slapped Star Fox on it because the old project died. And that made it come back to life. And in the end, people were like, this is a weird game and it's not really Star Fox. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that, if it was produced under a different name originally, but I think Coliseum and Gale of Darkness are bad Pokemon games.
I think just the story of the games was built around the fact that they had these weird mechanics. Like, I don't think they were like, we envision a region where it's inhospitable for wild Pokemon.
Yeah, they feel more like excuses rather than than forward-facing reasons, I guess.
There's no real, like, I really am not actually going to judge you. Like, I mostly just kid because I know how much, like, whenever I say I don't like them, people, like, are like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
it's just for funnies. Like, I'm not going to go on a crusade against Pokemon Coliseum.
And the soundtracks of those games are pretty good.
Pirate Town.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic.
But that's where I'm coming from on it. So I hope you understand how I'm feeling on that.
In general, it just seems like it would have been better if they just built a ground-up JRPG that had nothing to do with Pokemon. Then they could have built out their mechanics a lot better. But it stifles a lot of the core things that make Pokemon interesting, such as training up your own team of your favorites or catching your favorites or anything that has to do with catching Pokemon, basically. And by sidelining that, they're taking away one thing that pretty much makes any of the good Pokemon spin-offs good. Because you can do that in, pinball, and you could do that in trading card game. Like, you still catch up. You still do the phrase, the gotta catch 'em all. Like, it's very important, but in Coliseum and Gale of Darkness, it's very back of the bus sideline.
I don't really have like a moral problem with the protagonist stealing people's Pokemon. I mean, I do a little bit, but the main reason that I don't like it is because it feels wrong for a Pokemon game to have that mechanic in it. Like, it just doesn't feel like I'm playing Pokemon more than it is like, nobody should steal somebody else's Pokemon. Like, I'm of the people sitting here in this room, I think I'm the person who cares the least about, like, the story of Pokemon as related to my personal experience with the game.
Actually, it's probably Wallace.
Okay.
Yeah, Wallace is definitely...
Wallace is like, what is a Pokemon? How do I speak English? But yeah, I mean, hopefully that answers your questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for that email. This next one is going to be our last one, and it's from Gaffa Cakes, and it's called, "The Dex Discord is the best thing to recently happen to me."
Yay!
Hello, Alex, Kelly, and Jimmy. I haven't written in a long time due to me being suddenly swamped with work for my upcoming GCSE exams, but I have taken the liberty to join the Dex Discord. At first, I was quite uncertain of my place due to the sheer amount of people there, but slowly and surely I became a regular and have made friends with the many awesome people that frequent it. This is great because I'm in a pretty tough place in real life, and it's incredibly refreshing to just go to a place on the internet and talk about Pokemon or other forms of nonsense without having to worry about my day-to-day life. Dude, that's what we're always saying.
I know.
A huge refuge for me is the Research Institute, where I can sit back, relax, and spitball some ideas to see what will stick. I'm also pretty proud of my contributions there, where, at the time of writing this email, I have made 7 different theories and am working on my 8th, #humblebrag. My favorite of which is about the ghost girls that appear in the Pokemon franchise and how they may not actually be ghosts due to new pieces of evidence suggested in Sun and Moon. If you're interested, I've linked it here, and it's actually a Google Doc link that's sitting attached to this email. Also, shoutouts to my fellow researchers, Squishy, Teal, Chill Penguin, Jacob, and Thoth. It's cool that Chill Penguin transitioned from being a boss in a 90s video game to being on the Dex Discord.
It's like hanging out in our community.
It's actually Chill Penguin, if I'm being accurate.
Chill Pangolin.
You dudes have my highest praise, and I owe a lot to you guys. He's talking about Squishy Teal, Chill Penguin, and Jacob and Thoth, not us. But I just wanted to make that clear.
I've seen those guys on the
me too.
Research Institute zone.
I guess the only question I have is, what are you going to do with those theories we've compiled as a community? Sincerely, Gaffa Cakes. #HowsItNow. #sorry for the long email. #sorry, not sorry, not a long email. #reading this on a laptop and still does look pretty long. It's not a long email. #are you still cops? Always. #wrong, your Lumas now. Okay, fine.
Damn.
#how could you? #how would you? #later man. That guy just really went in on the hashtags, and I'm feeling good. Or girl.
That person.
Not trying to discriminate. Or whatever you want to be.
That person.
Yeah, a person. But to answer your question, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ryan Tatum of Twitter has stepped up to help us out behind the scenes a little bit, and we've been working on just like slowly putting together our plan for streaming with the Dex, because that's kind of like the whole point of the Discord, is that we want to like make it our community for when we stream, and so that you guys can like come watch and like hang out with us while we stream. And so we're going to be doing battle tournaments eventually, and we're going to be doing like a breeding thing where you can like watch us breed and either breed along with us or like learn how to breed and get some like free Pokemon for it, because we're going to be just trading away all the breeding Pokemon that we got. But we've been sort of spitballing an idea because we want to also do something for the research peeps, like something where we can like sort of how do I say it? Like sort of like include you guys in our process.
Yeah.
But without, because the thing that I don't want to happen is like, and this is something that's already happened a few times, and I don't want people to feel weird about it, but like part of the reason why we're not just like taking these things that you guys write and putting them into the show directly like that is because like for us, like we do, especially Kelly does like a lot of research on her own that overlaps with a lot of the stuff that you guys touch on. And sometimes she goes into more detail or looks at it from another angle than you guys look at. And I just don't want anybody feeling like they're doing research and then we're stealing their ideas, because that's definitely not happening. So what I've been thinking about is like, maybe I'll sort of like come up with some sort of like standardized format, right? And then have you guys like submit like together, like get like a certain number of people to sign off on a thing and then send it to us, and then do a stream where we like go over a theory and just like discuss a theory, you know what I mean, that you guys have sent us. So I love the way that these theories are going. I always go in there and I read them. I think it's great. And like the other day I just hopped in and like started speculating about Ultra Beast for a little while, just out of nowhere while I was writing the decks. Which is like kind of the idea. I want to be able to go in there and have fun too.
Yeah, and I've popped in there every once in a while and I've been like, well, what do you think about like this thing? Like, does this like bother anyone?
Yeah.
Like it bothers me, or like does no one care?
Yeah. But I just don't want to set up like some crazy web of things where somebody's getting really insulted. So I think, you know, in general, we're going to keep it separate unless it's something really awesome. And in which case we will be very clear about who came up with the idea. And I think we actually have done that once or twice in the past already, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like I know we called out somebody who like helped us figure out some sort of algorithm or
oh yeah, in the Blastoise episode.
Yeah. So like for me, right, like yeah, don't give up on this. Like we're really like thinking about a way that we can do this. But yeah, we're gonna have Ryan on in like the next week or so on this podcast to just like sort of like introduce these things officially and talk about the specifics of them. But just just know that we're actively like working on this. We meet every other week as a team and talk about what we're doing. I have individual meetings with everybody else on the team. That's like what that's where Hilda came from. Like that's how that happened, is like we're all working on stuff. Me and Hilda are also working on another big show with Kelly, that's going to come out in the next month or two. It's all happening, and I'm you know, I'm sad to see the views going down on the channel, but I don't want to give up on it, and I really want to like make it into something relevant and new that the people who care about it can really come hang out and like participate in. Because as much as we make the decks, like for me, it's about, you know, putting out that positive vibe for the community in general, and like making that mark on the Pokemon fandom in general.
Yeah.
And so yes, I appreciate these theories. I'm going to read this Ghost Girl theory right after we go off the air, and stay tuned for more, because it's definitely coming. We're going to start with some test stuff like in the next couple weeks. So get hype.
Sick. Cool.
Well, that is it for today, guys. I want to say thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
And also I've been asking people to put out like if they own a business or they work for a business that wants to like, you know, sponsor us or do a commercial with us or something like that, to reach out and let me know. Just go to the dexcast@gmail.com or find my personal email on my Twitter is a better way to get in touch with me. Some people have been doing that, and I've been setting up some stuff. So that's actually really cool. Nothing to do yet because I'm still just like discussing the specifics, but it's a real thing. So if you guys want to reach out and put your own commercial on here, even if it's for nothing, even if you're like want to promote your YouTube channel and you want to like, I don't want to start that actually. It's a slippery slope, but I will say whatever you want if you pay me enough. So
okay.
Yeah.
You know what we should do is we should look into doing as a listener of the Maximum Fun Podcast Network, they do this thing called a billboard where like anyone can pay for an advertisement spot, and then basically they can just advertise whatever they need to, like even if it's like their school play or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that could be a thing, like especially like because the Pokemon fandom stretches far and wide, and I think like, you know, if it's something worth...
What about your Pokemon art, your commissions? How about that? We could advertise that.
Yeah. So we'll come up with some sort of thing. But also like if you want to reach out and do something on like a corporate level, please let me know, because I'm definitely open to it, because I really want to keep this going. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for doing all that research. If you guys aren't on the Dex Discord, it's really easy to do. Just go over to our YouTube channel, or maybe you're watching this right now on YouTube. Just hop down into the description of any video with the current graphical style of the channel, and just check the description, and you will see, lo and behold, a permanent link to the Discord there that you can jump in and join. And it's great. It's moderated. There's stuff for everyone. There's a roleplay server. There's trading, battling, art. You know, there's a place to go hang out and watch live streams. It's a great place to hang out. I'm really proud that it's turned into what it has turned into. So thank you for listening. I'm Alex.
I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Kellz.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Wait a minute.